And we're live. We'll wait for people to
Mhm.
find us. So I want to let everyone know that we are with Tom Wakechild. And if you Google
So
up,
what about everyone?
if you were to
And
Google
we're
up,
live. Wait
sorry,
for
there we go. If you were to Google up or go to Amazon and uh, type in Course in Miracles books, uh, you are featured very prominently. Uh, you have really um, immersed yourself and then offered that out for other people. And I really appreciate that. Um, you might be one of the more, if not most, prolific writers on the course.
okay.
So I'm going to read your introduction.
Mhm.
Again, friends, this is Tom Wakechild, and coming from the business world while being a mystical is a rare combination. This gives Thomas Wakechild a unique, practical perspective to successfully straddle both the material and spiritual worlds. Tom believes that if your spiritual practice does not bring the joy and peace that you seek and deserve today, it is of little or no use. You deserve better. As a best-selling author and scribe for the Understanding of A Course in Miracles series, Tom is a masterful teacher who can clarify the most esoteric concepts known as a practical mystic. Tom blends the scientific and mystical traditions to formulate practical solutions for today's fear-based world. His teachings end the blame, shame, and guilt game while enabling you to respond to events without compromising your values or inner peace. Tom understands that you can never escape fear within a thought system that was designed to create, maintain, and perpetuate fear in the first place. To break free, you must overthrow your old fear based thoughts system and adopt a new plan. His Understanding A Course in Miracles series is the foundation for the new plan that can overcome fear while reclaiming one's ability to become a proactive agent for change in one's life. For more about Tom and his work, you can visit his website. The website is in the link. And again, you can go to Amazon and you can order all of his books. Hi, Sissy. Sissy's here, says good evening. So, guys, that is uh, Tom Wakechild. And Tom,
Yeah.
uh, how did you find the course? Or how long have you known of the course?
Well, I really have, I'm going to say, I don't want to call myself a newbie now, but it was very late in my search for truth and understanding. And so it happened probably around 2003, 2004. And I was already, I'm going to say, well versed in a lot of spiritual practices. I had at one time been a teacher in the School of Metaphysics. Um, and so I left that with the idea that you should be able to practice what you know rather than just supposedly teach it. A lot of times I think teachers maybe teach it because they can't manifest it. I don't know. But anyways, so really how I came across the course was basically I had retired at around 50, and people knew that I was, I don't want to call enlightened or whatever, but that I was had learned a lot and was able to understand things. And so I was approached by people that said they were having a problem understanding A Course in Miracles and would I look into it. So I looked into it, and whenever I uh, saw it, I actually found that it really had about the missing link that I had in my various searches. You know, I had pieced together a lot of different things from various practices, studies, spiritual efforts and also the sciences of just trying to be the best that you can be, learning how the mind works and trying to apply that. And so whenever I came across the Course in Miracles and I actually read the introduction and said the Course could be summarized in 14 words, nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists, herein lies the peace of God. I knew that that was not necessarily of this world because it didn't really make, I'm going to say, a lot of sense. Whenever you think about nothing real can be threatened, uh, if you perceive yourself to be a body, certainly that could be threatened. We see all kinds of things that create fears. Our bodies are hardwired to have the fight, flirt, and freeze response. So that seemed to be counterintuitive. It didn't make any sense. But in looking at the book, actually, and it started to call to me, and in the middle of the night, it would wake me up and tell me to start looking at various parts of it, and it would kind of speak to me. But the one thing that really was critical was it said, God didn't make this world, or if God made this world, he would be cruel. And that was really the breaking point because that was really the missing link, realizing that this world is not a world of reality, it's a world of perception. And perception is comprised of really 5 dimensions, 4 of which we're familiar with. The 3 from space, the ups, downs, the depth, and then time. Uh, that is the 4th dimension. But the 5th dimension is beliefs. And uh, even in the Course in Miracles, the workbook, the first whole section is trying to teach people that their world is a world of perception, not reality, and that means that how they view their world is very flexible and malleable, and that we can, by knowing what we want, we can actually allow the universe to support us, and we can allow uh, ourselves to, well, be happy, healthy, and abundant. But we can, by doing that, we can help support God in his mission of waking sleeping minds to their spiritual magnificence. So, that's kind of how I got into it. I wasn't looking for anything because I had already thought I had found everything. I was, happy, healthy, and abundant. I was in a good position. My life was great. My spirituality was great. Everything was fine. And so that might have been a little bit different than a lot of people who come into the course.
It
You know,
is.
so I think that, and one of the things that was interesting, whenever I started getting these messages and channeling and started taking down notes, and um, you mentioned that I've written a lot. Uh, I have gone through the text, and it's told me. And one of the problems with the text is that it's difficult to understand for 2 reasons. One is it uses common language in very unusual ways. The whole idea that real cannot be threatened. When we perceive ourselves to be the body and the body is us, there's no way that makes any sense. When you understand that real, according to the Course in Miracle, means changeless, and that it cannot change, that viewpoint, that understanding of that makes a totally different thing. And now it becomes very understandable. So one of the things was kind of decoding it for the people. And whenever I started doing that, they found it of value, so I continued to do it. But, I was kind of guided to that. And in this case, it was always, the idea that you were learning everything that's presented, all your experiences. And this may sound egotistical, but the whole universe is trying to help you reawaken to the truth of what you are. It's trying to help you understand that you are not the body is not you. So when you start realizing that the universe or the Holy Spirit or guidance, your higher self, knows what you really are and is trying to reawaken you, then why we're here on this planet changes too. We no longer are here to earn something. We're here to learn, or as the Course might say, remember the truth of what we are.
It's a really comforting thought that the whole universe is basically cooperating with you to get you to awaken, sending you exactly what you need for the lesson that you need to learn right now.
Yeah, and that's kind of what a lot of people realize that the Course talks about forgiveness. But again, forgiveness, according to the Course, is forgiving my brothers and sisters for all the things I thought they did that never really happened. It's not so much that it didn't happen. This is one of the things that people have to understand. When we speak of the world of perception, we're talking about how you view your world. And of those four things, events uh, may have, I'll use the term historically in this dimension of time and space, happened. They may have occurred. And people can eyewitness that and say, yes, someone did kick me in the teeth back on July 4th, 19, whatever it is. And that might very well be true. And let's just assume it physically did happen. That doesn't mean that in our world of perception, that really is how we view it. We can, by changing our beliefs as to what the purpose of an item was for, we can have that become a learning lesson, or we can have that become a verification that we're living in fear. There's all kinds of things, but the world of perception is one based on our beliefs. If we change our beliefs, then what we see in our world changes too, or how we view our world. Of course, how we view our world changes, but in uh, reality, the world just goes on, and everybody is trying to support your awakening. And so, whenever I look at my life and I think back at perhaps my childhood was the perfect thing that I needed to help me reawaken. It was the ideal thing. Everybody's on their own perfect path. And what we just have to do is sit back and appreciate that the whole universe is trying to conspire to help us reawaken to the truth. And what we're trying to reawaken to is the idea that I am not a body, I am free, I am still as God created me. Nothing sources my experience but me, and nothing can rob me of my inner peace unless I choose to allow it. And what we see is we've been indoctrinated into a different set of beliefs. And, the Course in Miracles talks about the points of knowledge. It also talks about the laws of chaos. But the fear-based thought system that we're indoctrinated basically turns that axiom of knowledge upside down and basically says, I am the body and the body is me. I am not free. I'm a victim of outside forces beyond my control. I am not as God created me. I'm a sinner. The idea that I source my own experience, that can't be true. I'm a victim of outside circumstances beyond my control. The idea that nothing can rob me of my own inner peace, that can't be true. Everything can rob me of my own inner peace because I need all kinds of things. And the idea that I can prevent losing my inner peace, that must be impossible because I am needing, I'm limited, I lack, and I'm a powerless victim. I'm not the source of my experiences. And that's what we're taught. And that's what we need to overthrow and restructure and start seeing that no, you are a powerful creator. God didn't create it in junk. You are God's beloved child. And until we're willing to accept that, uh, we're going to constantly be living in fear.
So we're talking basically a paradigm shift from, as you said, the conditioning, uh, which is no one's fault because they were conditioned before. It's a perpetual conditioning from generation to generation. We've basically been taught that we are a body, and you said there's plenty of things to be fearful of. But the course is offering um, an entire paradigm shift.
Yeah, you cannot, I don't believe, you cannot end fear or eliminate it if you perceive yourself to be a body. If you believe that I'm the body and the body is me, uh, you are doomed to live in fear. If you perceive that there is some God that is going to judge you, you will live in fear. The Course in Miracles is black and white. It's simple. It basically says there's truth and there's uh, things that doesn't really say that there's not truth because nothing uh, that isn't true exists. This planet or this, world of time and space that we are involved in right now, when we change our mindset from being an earner, believing that we have to do something to earn salvation or to get some reward, and transform it into a paradigm shifting idea that we're a learner that needs to just remember the truth of what they are, that they remain as God created them, that God is a God of love, then we all of a sudden start realizing that this world is our play school designed so that we can learn the skills we need to demonstrate what we truly are. And fear arises anytime we actually uh, answer either of these two questions wrong. The first is, what am I? The second is, what do I value and why? The what am I, if you believe yourself you're a body, you're in trouble. Okay. If you believe that there's some God that is judging you, you're going to always be in fear. So, uh, your spiritual practice should be able to be something of value today. And this idea of what do you value and why, it's not important whether or not I um, do one thing or another. I could be donating money to build a wing on a hospital, okay, for children or whatever, children's wing on a hospital. And two people can be doing that same thing, and that doesn't make one person spiritual and the other not. It really becomes a question of why am I doing it? If I'm doing it to get my name on the building, okay, then that's not a reason to, and it's not what we're here for. That's not, we're basically saying we need something outside of ourselves to gain recognition, to make us happy. That is not why we do things. When you realize what we are, that we are God's beloved child, that we are here to help awaken sleeping minds to the magnificence of what they really are. You do things for service. You do things because the service of helping another is what you value. Why? Because it's allowing you to demonstrate what you truly are. So, what we're here for, if we realize that we're learners, we use this world to be demonstrate our true values. And our true values is not necessarily what we've been taught. It's within ourselves. The Holy Spirit knows what we are. Our higher self knows what we are, and that's what we're reawakening to.
You can almost call A Course in Miracles a course on values of helping us realize, especially in the teacher's manual, when they talk about the characteristics of teachers, with trust being one, and that sometimes that can be a harsh lesson. But as you mentioned to me uh, privately, it doesn't have to be a harsh lesson.
Yeah, did you say not to trust anyone?
No, how
Oh,
characteristics of teachers, and they talk
oh,
about trust
mhm.
because we're basically shown that we've been valuing the things that have been misplaced, and that we want to value what's true. We want to value uh, the things, as you were saying, that have true meaning, and that it feels like some of these things that we value are being taken away from us as we awaken to what we truly value. But as you mentioned to me privately, it doesn't have to be a fearful process. It doesn't have to be something that's painful.
It correct. It doesn't have to be, but you're perfectly free to allow it to be that if that's what you want. See, that's the beauty of of everything is that I said that you're free in this time space continuum. We're free to be or imagine anything we want. So, and that you can't be free really if there's consequences to your decision. Otherwise, if someone says, love me or else I'm going to put a bullet in your head, uh, that there's some consequences to that. There are no consequences when you realize that nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. The illusion that you are the body is a falsity. The idea that uh, I need something outside myself to make myself happy, that is, of course, uses the word illusion, but it's really just us in time and space realizing that that's what we're perceiving. And when we perceive something and it has no effect to change us, that is what makes it an illusion. It has no ability. If you put a bullet in my head, if I die, it has no ability to change the truth of what I am. And therefore, from that standpoint, it's an illusion. In time and space, I might disappear. That doesn't mean that I cease to exist. All that means is that uh, I no longer have this game token called a body that maybe allows me to be a place, to have a place on this game board of time and space in this dimension. But that has no consequence on what I am. I still remain God's beloved child. I still remain part of that oneness of all that is. You know, whenever I said that, I don't know, maybe I didn't say this, but in order for something to be practical, it has to be understandable, and it has to be believable.
Right.
People, and I also said, was meant to say that the course is black and white. There is no such thing as gray. The problem with most people when they're studying the course is they want to interpret things based within their fear-based thought system. You know, the course, there's 6 points of knowledge that differ dramatically from the laws of misperception or the course might call them the laws of chaos. The 6 points are you are mind, pure mind. Uh, Two, you're sinless and fearless because you were created out of love. Otherwise, God is a God of love. There is only love that exists. Three, you never left your source. Therefore, you remain as you were created. Then we've got this idea of knowledge. You knowledge was given to you and you can't lose it. This is why we know the higher self or the Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call that thing, is bringing you back to the truth of what you are. Of course, uses the term, we're here to remember, because we can't learn something that we can't lose knowledge. That's the fourth point. Knowledge was given to every living thing, and only by knowledge does it live. So we have to realize that it's what we are, how we're created, that gives us what we have. And then knowledge was a gift of creation, and therefore it's given to all and it can't be learned. So those are the 4 points of knowledge, and those points, I'm going to say radically, are radically different from what we are taught. You know, the laws of chaos basically say truth is different for everyone. It says each one is sinned, and therefore uh, everyone deserves attack and death. Then it goes further and it says God, this God of love, somehow has accepted that the Son's fallen belief of himself that he's a sinner. And therefore, God sees us as sinners and hates us for it. And there we transform a God of love into a God of hate. Then, because we believe that we're sinners, and sin is defined as basically lack, but it's this belief in lack, limitation, and separation. You believe that what you have taken from others, that it's a zero sum game. If I'm to win, someone's got to lose. And therefore, there's a lot of guilt associated with that idea. But we believe that it's a zero sum game because we, in this world of time and space, believe that our true reality is lack, limitation, and separation. And then the fifth law of chaos is that there's a substitute for love. And it's this substitute that you need to make you complete. Because somewhere you're not perfect, whole, and complete. You know, what I want people to realize is that we are perfect, whole, and complete. We are God's beloved child. We have to realize that we are a product of love. And as such, God's will is not that we suffer. God's will is that we be happy. Now, sometimes, and I don't know, do you like, Eric, going to horror movies?
I don't.
You don't. Okay. Some people do. Okay. I myself I don't want to say used to, but maybe my life was a horror movie. Okay. But in any case, uh, people spend good money to be terrified out of their wits. Why? Because they get some excitement out of it. We're free if we want to have any experience that we want. Okay. The truth, what we're really here to learn is the idea that no matter what the circumstances, that nothing can rob me of my own inner peace unless I choose to allow it.
This is a
And
good place
go
maybe
ahead.
to ask the question. Because our friend Adam has said, "What is the lesson of physical pain?" And um, I think that would be a good place to address that. Uh, what you were saying that we can even interpret or reinterpret our physical pain. Um,
Uh, yes, we can reinterpret. There is something, and Adam brings up a good point. And a lot of pain, especially if we look at uh, physiologists and what it teaches us, is that uh, pain is a uh, product of our own mind's makeup. Now, I'm not saying that there's not some physical associations with pain, but and you might say, well, that's not true. If I cut myself, I'm going to bleed. Well, if isn't that true if I'm hurt? But if we look at um, going for an operation, it's consciousness. It's what we place our awareness on that is really what we determine as pain. Physiologists tell us that the bodily reaction to what we call uh, fear and excitement is the same. We have the same physiology. Uh, the body, it has a response, and then the mind interprets it. How do they want to interpret it? If if we were the physical body, and we wouldn't be able to undergo an operation and be able to have the anesthetists tell us, uh, I'm going to put you to sleep, and when you wake up, everything will be over. You don't feel any pain. Why? Because your consciousness is, they might say, asleep, whatever, but you're not aware of that. So the idea of physical pain and pain really, the reason that we have pain generally, and this is kind of going outside the scope, but we have pain because something is trying to tell us to wake up, to become aware. And so physical pain is a valuable uh, lesson to call our attention and bring our awareness to a particular item. But uh, you know, this idea that I can be anesthetized, that I can be not conscious and not have pain, would tell us that it's something more than the body. Um, so I don't know if that really addresses it, but in certain ways, pain. We have pain because on a higher level, we're trying to wake ourselves up to the fact that we're suffering from some type of stinking thinking. And that's our body's response. But it starts in the mind first. Uh, now, I don't want to say that when people that if you see somebody that's suffering, that they've got something mentally wrong with them. There are some people that, the Buddhist office that maybe have come here that want to take on suffering of others. And so they experience pain. So never judge anyone for what we interpret as some story. Uh, Someone is suffering. Um, it's something that we don't want to necessarily make a judgment, especially spiritual types. And, a lot of times, especially if you look at some of the science of mind, uh, Mary Baker Eddy, where they talk about pain as being mental. Uh, there's a lot of evidence to support that. But I don't want to say that you should get off all your pain medications or anything like that. What we want to do is we want to meet you where you are. The Course in Miracles is very specific. The Holy Spirit will never do anything that would encourage you to increase your level of fear. So, whatever the circumstances are, uh, the Holy Spirit, if you ask for inner guidance, you could quiet your egoic mind and listen. You will get the proper advice. And if your belief system is uh, of the mind that you need to take an aspirin to take away your headache, that's the advice that you'll get from the Holy Spirit. Take the aspirin. Why? Because what we want to do is we want to reduce your fear level. As you reduce your fear level, new options become available. Tomorrow, you might realize that, I get these headaches because I'm in stress, and I'm in stress because of blah, blah, blah. And you start moving your way up the ladder of reducing the level of fear into where you become more aware of the truth. So pain is something that is a wake-up call to tell you, and it might very well be that something is upset in your world, and it also might be there to help you realize that you're in a dangerous situation, and you need, if you want to maintain the body, to actually take some steps to get out of that situation that is causing you to be in pain.
So, Adam, that was addressing pain. It was very in depth, Tom. I appreciate that.
Yeah, in my book, A Course in Miracles Made Practical, uh, there's a story, a true story of myself in regards to pain, and how and it might be overcome. That's all I'll just say. But just realize that when you're in pain, uh, there's some lesson that the universe is trying to teach you. It might be the lesson that, hey, I'm worthy. I'm a good person. I don't deserve this, because we've been brainwashed into believing that there's something wrong with us. There's never anything wrong with you. There's something that could be radically wrong with your plan. And so that pain might be just a wake-up call to tell you to look at the situation. Here's something, I guess it's probably in the Course in Miracles Made Practical. But Here's the question that we need to ask ourselves in regards to any experience, especially when we're undergoing negative experiences, but it would hold true even if they were positive experiences. The question to ask yourself is, what would I have to believe about myself to cause that experience to come into my awareness? Note the question. People often say, uh, what caused this? It's always about yourself. What did I have to believe about myself so that I would attract or cause the universe to support that belief and give me some evidence? And until I change my belief, I'll continue to have that ongoing experiences. Although it's not, I don't think, addressed in uh, the A Course in Miracles Made Practical. There's another book, Ending Fear, the 7-Hour Formula for Fearless Awakening. And there we talk about the creation cycle. And the creation cycle is actually 4 components. And it's a cycle because one section follows the next, and it's just repeating. So it's just a repeating endless cycle. There are beliefs, which always come first, actions, then experiences. And experiences are a little bit different than events. Events are what really happen, at least on time and space and physicality. Experiences are us taking those supposed events and filtering them through our belief system and creating all kinds of stories about those events. So that creates a world of perception. And there, what we've done is we've taken something that maybe a camera would agree happened, and now weaved a story about it. Okay, so that's the experience. And then we enter, and unfortunately, a lot of people don't, into the feedback stage where we take those experiences that we've had and hopefully we might ask ourselves the question, what would I have to believe about myself to have that experience? If I got kicked in the teeth, maybe uh, there's some lesson that I need to learn about that. Maybe it's that I shouldn't be a wimp, or who knows what the lesson is. But we need to ask that question. Now, if we come up with the some belief and we don't like the experience, okay, what we have to do is we have to modify that belief. So the feedback gives us important information about the experience that we can now take and try and figure out what was my belief. It wasn't Joe. Okay, it was me. It was me wanting Joe to kick me, or my higher self wanting Joe to kick me in the teeth so that I could wake up to the idea that I don't deserve to get kicked in the teeth, maybe. Maybe that was a lesson. Okay. It might have been that I need to kick Joe in the teeth. Okay. Why? Because he's asking for calls for help to say, help me. I'm in fear. I don't know how to handle this. And this is the way I've taught to handle it. So maybe I'm supposed to hit him back. And again, people would say, well, that's not very spiritual. It's not uh, the physical happening that makes it spiritual or not. It's why did I do that? Did I do that because I was in fear? Or was I doing that because, that was something that I needed that would help somebody reduce their level of fear. And the most important one that we have to reduce first is myself. So if I hit them back, okay, that might be one of those baby steps to help me reawaken to the truth that I don't deserve to be mistreated. Okay. And that will be, again, it's always about me learning that now uh, by changing my action and maybe standing up to Joe next time, I won't get kicked in the teeth. That'll give me some feedback. The result was different, okay, because my belief was different. Okay. So now it gives me feedback. I said, now I stood up to this person. The result was I didn't get kicked in the teeth. Oh, what does that tell me? Well, it might tell me that I need to muscle up or something. Or it might tell me that maybe I need to respect myself. And when I respect myself, others will respect myself. And maybe that's what I'm being tried to be taught about. And so I changed my belief. And now I change my belief to say that I'm worthy. I'm not uh, allowing others, and I do not see myself in need of being kicked in the teeth anymore because I've learned that lesson. And I forgive myself. I change my belief. And the creation cycle is all about beliefs. I change my belief, saying now I'm no longer uh, a victim of outside forces beyond my control. I now believe that I'm worthy of respect. Okay. Now I take action to act like I'm worthy of respect. I then move into events that the universe throws my way. I now work those events through my belief system, okay, that says I'm worthy, that maybe says that the universe supports me, whatever. I get some experience then, and I go back to the feedback, okay, and I say, did I get the results that I wanted? Yes, no. What would I have to believe about myself to cause that experience that I just had? And I redo that. And this way I slowly start moving up that ladder and start understanding what beliefs, limiting beliefs that I have about myself that are causing myself to experience things that I theoretically don't want. Here's another tricky thing. You know, the understanding A Course in Miracles Made Practical. That book actually uh, tries to attack, or I could use word attack because that's a no-no for A Course in Miracles. Uh, that allows one to question the core belief. And what are our problems that we have basically is that we've been taught that our experiences generate our beliefs. And part of that book is tackling that and trying to present evidence to show that our beliefs generate our experiences. And right now, we're in a creation cycle. And that means that it doesn't matter if we want to argue what came first, beliefs or experience. We've both had plenty of them by now. But we got to realize that that's a cycle. And unless we change one of those components, uh, we're going to get the same result. And uh, beliefs are always the thing. If you don't think beliefs come first, uh, I would throw out the idea that the only reason you do anything is because you think your action will have some effect. I believe that I can pick up this item and I do it. If I didn't believe that I could do it, I wouldn't even try. I wouldn't waste my energy. Beliefs always come first. And we've been indoctrinated into trying to argue for our littleness. Why? Ripley's Believe It or Not, because there's a lot of benefits that we can get whenever we say that I'm a victim. Outside forces caused me to do this. I'm not responsible. There's a lot of benefits to that. And uh, we need to realize that maybe the universe is helping us pretend that we're a victim because that's what we really desire. And that's going to sound harsh or whatever, but your higher self knows the truth, and your higher self will help you reawaken to the truth that you are God's beloved child. There's nothing wrong with you. Never. There's always, if there's some problem, it's your plan, it's your beliefs, not knowing the truth. And so the that under, A Course in Miracles Made Practical, that book is trying to help you realize that your thoughts become things, that the world that you perceive is not a real reflection of Tom Wakechild, it's a reflection of yourself. This is a world of perception, and perception is those four dimensions filtered through that fifth dimension of beliefs. Change your beliefs. That's what the Course says. Don't try and change the world. Try and change your beliefs about your world. And automatically, the universe will start shifting around to support those new beliefs. You're a powerful creator. Even the one that claims to be a total victim is a powerful creator because they're creating by default. They're saying, look at me, I'm poor, I'm miserable. And that is them creating that experience and allowing themselves. Again, that might sound harsh, but we need to realize black and white. You're God's beloved child. There's no interim. God wants you to be happy. And it's you unwilling to forgive yourself, believing that you have to do penance, that you have to learn something more that creates the problem. You're your own keeper of your own karmic keys. There's no guardian angel keeping score up there. But you, your higher self, knows that you can't pretend. You can claim you're a victim, and in this world of time and space, you're free to imagine that and experience that and make that what I'm going to call your own provisional reality. It's the truth as you perceive it. And the law of chaos says the truth differs for everyone. So that's how you perceive it. But it's not the real truth. You are God's beloved child. You are a powerful creator. And nothing can cause you to lose your inner peace unless you choose to allow it. So
That,
we're here to demonstrate and to be those values. And this world is where we get to play out in this nature of duality, whether or not we can be love informed or we need to maybe hone our skills. But even whenever we're not, quote unquote, being loving, we're kicking someone in the teeth, we think that's the case, they still remain as God created, perfect, whole, and complete. They may perceive that they're limited like you, but that's not the truth. It doesn't change their reality. And therefore, eventually, we're all going to wake up to that truth.
So that's a good place for a question that we had from a friend who asked how you define truth. How do you define what is true? How do you define truth?
That's an excellent question. Um, Knowledge is the definition of knowledge, if you look at it, is something that's commonly held and hopefully has some supporting evidence. Course in Miracles doesn't accept that as a good definition. Knowledge, according to Webster, does not have to be true. Knowledge, according to the Course in Miracles, must be true. So nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. So um, the truth is that you remain. I'm not a body. I'm free. I'm still as God created me. Nothing sources my experience but me, and nothing can cause me to lose my inner peace unless I choose to allow it. That is truth. Okay. Uh, what we want to argue for is say we don't have evidence, and therefore I believe that I am the body and the body is me. I am not free, okay, because there's consequences. If I go down and run my car into a building, there's a crash, there's consequences. Uh, that's not what you really are. Nothing can threaten what you truly are, which is God's beloved child, part of that oneness of all that is perfect, whole, and complete. That's the truth, that you're pure spirit. So like the difference is truth is what is true with a capital T. This world accepts knowledge and assumes that is true. It is not the same thing. So uh, if you want to know what truth is, I would say Course in Miracles, which when you get to chapter 31, finally tells you what truth is. But it's a long way coming. Uh, so like, it's the truth that you are the creator of your own experiences, that nothing sources your experiences but you, that you remain as God created you, perfect, whole, and complete, and that nothing, even this world of time and space, this world that we perceive to be our reality, has no ability to change how God created. You remain unlimited spirit, perfect, whole, and complete. And we don't, I could go on and on. So that is the truth. If you want to know what truth is, look at those 6 points of knowledge, and you'll know what truth is. And it's, I think, already been mentioned in this, so I won't reiterate it.
We had another question up above from Parajat. Are beliefs even necessary?
Beliefs, okay, are they necessary? I'm going to say that it's very important that you look at your beliefs. Hopefully, your beliefs, and ultimately, when we reawaken, your beliefs will align with the truth. So now we have a situation where truth and beliefs will actually align. We'll realize that I am a spirit. I'm not my body. The body is a placeholder that is a game token that if I want to play on this dimension, it's helpful to have. And therefore, I would suggest, just like a car, that you change its oil, that you want to maintain it and keep it in good shape. Why? Not because that you need to have abs so big or whatever, but because it is a neutral communication device. And whenever it's in good shape, it gives you the ability to perhaps be uh, have more options available to you so that you can maybe assist someone or have different experiences that you find of value. So the body is a communication device that we need in this dimension so that we can interact in a world in which duality seems to be our reality, that there is me and something outside myself. Perception is the idea that there is me and something to perceive. You need a perceiver and something out there. And so we need duality. And one of the things that we're here to learn, and I think I mentioned it to Eric, it's easy to be a holy man on a mountain. It's easy to be loving when everybody's loving to me. The real test and why we're here is, can you be loving in town? Can you do it when people aren't necessarily uh, the most friendliest chap in the world? When they're not treating you with respect? Can you do you allow that to cause you to lose your inner peace, which just means it's been your own decision? So, like, we're here so that we can grow, learn from our experiences. And as we do that, we a lot of times take baby steps. It's not necessary, but most people will take baby steps to reawakening. A lot of times you have to crawl before you run. So a lot of times those are just baby steps. And if you're having a problem manifesting, okay, something, there's two reasons why you're having problems manifesting. The first is that you may have decided that you want to baby step your way to that experience. You know, if I'm trying to go to the San Francisco and I'm in Arizona, uh, I could hop on a plane or I could walk there and I could go to the Grand Canyon. Okay. If I went to the Grand Canyon, it'd take a little bit longer, but it would be maybe a more rich, rewarding experience. Uh, the end result is eventually we both get to San Francisco, but now I want to slow walk my way there. So that might be one of the reasons why you have problems manifesting being happy, healthy, and abundant, for example. Another reason, and this is the big one, is that probably you have conflicting beliefs. For example, if I uh, have a test that I want to get a good grade for, and I feel that I need to study. And someone, and so I'm going to lock myself in a room and study, pull an all-nighter or whatever, to study so I get a good grade. And then someone calls up a friend and says, "Hey, I'd like to go to, why don't you go with me to this movie or to the bar?" And I'd like to do that too. Okay. And so there's conflicting beliefs. I believe that maybe I have to work hard to be able to make money. Okay. So that's what I generate. I want to be abundant, but I have this other belief. So a lot of times and this is the major reason, we have conflicting beliefs. And therefore, we don't have that uh, laser focus to be able to generate, and then also, those are the two main reasons. I don't want to go a little bit further into that. There might be other questions.
Do have a question, and it's dealing with beliefs again. Why do people hold on to certain beliefs even when there's strong evidence against them?
Um, well, if we wanted to look at that, we could actually look at how our physical mind works. And whenever I talk about the physical mind, uh, we're really talking about the organ, but the brain is not really our thinking mechanism. That's just a physical organ. But whenever we uh, look at that, uh, it's the idea of let me stop. Repeat the question.
Why do people hold on to certain beliefs even when there's strong evidence against them?
Okay. And what I was getting at is we have been programmed, and our mind works with the idea that we'd rather be right than happy. So whenever we find out that our belief might be wrong, even though there's strong evidence supporting it, okay, our ego, because we'd rather be right than happy, argues for our rightness, even though it costs us our happiness. So that's basically the reason. Now, if we look at uh, the science of how the mind works and the psychology and stuff like that, there's a lot of other reasons. There's a lot of biases that our mind is programmed to be. One thing that uh, the physiologists have now discovered is that our brain is very poor at perception, otherwise realizing what's really out there, and it's very poor at cognitive skills of thinking. So uh, that at least at a physiological level, that would be true. But it's not the brain; it's our beliefs always. Um, we don't want to get stuck, but there's a lot of physical evidence that is supported. And you're not your body, your consciousness. And consciousness is comprised of three things: uh, your beliefs, your experiences, and the items that your assumptions. And what we want to do, and what I want to try and address, is whenever we look at the assumptions, those have a lot of times don't need any evidence. As a matter of fact, a lot of the assumptions are require no evidence. They're just things that I decided that I wanted to believe. Uh, Hopefully, there's some additional evidence that supports it. For example, um, the idea of God of only love. Can I prove that? Can I prove that to you that God is only love? Well, I can say I've had experiences that would demonstrate that, but can I scientifically prove that to you? Not really. But if, and this is important to realize, if there's certain beliefs that will uh, help us become happy, uh, they may very well, and there's Pascal's wager, and it's in that, it's in both of those books. But it says that if there's nothing that it tells you what you can and can't believe if you're unsure. But if a belief has nothing that you have to lose from believing it, and everything that you have to gain by believing it. And if not believing it has nothing that you want and everything and cost you, uh, other things, then there's a reason that you should accept that and believe it. Not because there's evidence to support it, just because it will allow you to have a better opportunity to be happy. And what we really, when we realize that it's world of perception, actually assumptions are something that uh, you make on your own. You can't necessarily prove them. I said, I am not a body. Can I prove that to you? Maybe I can, maybe I can't. But I can prove it to myself. I know that's true for myself. But science will say that we can't necessarily prove that. Now, in like ending fear, we provide a lot of scientific evidence to support the ideas that you're conscious and not a body. But in this case, it's something that I assume because I know that it will allow me to live a happier, more fulfilling life. And
Chris,
so it's a choice. And the Course in Miracles says, if you don't like the results, choose again.
choose again.
Your assumptions are so uh, messed up about yourself. We've been brainwashed that we don't question our assumptions. A Course in Miracles made practical is going to start questioning those assumptions. It's going to go right at the heart, which says beliefs come first, that your experiences are the product of your beliefs and not the other way around. And when you realize that, and that's why the Course says change your beliefs and your experience will automatically realize. If you realize that, that makes you a powerful creator. That makes you the source for uh, moving out of victim consciousness into becoming a deliberate creator. And although it's not in that one book, but in Ending Fear, one of the ideas is to help you become a deliberate creator.
We have a question. To be open-minded, would you say the most important thing is to suspend our disbeliefs?
Uh, it's certainly important, I think, to be open-minded. Maybe we need to question all our beliefs, and that includes the fear-based thought system and the laws of chaos uh, that they're predicated on. Got to realize that fear is a powerful source for control. And we've been indoctrinated into by our society, by our religion, by a lot of different things, peers and whatever, to adopt a fear-based thought system, which says that there's something wrong with us and that some outside power will determine whether or not we're worthy. Okay, that love has to be earned. And so what we have to do is, first of all, question those assumptions. And the problem that people have is they believe that those are based on evidence. And one of the things that's tricky is the way our mind works. If we believe something, we will ignore all the evidence that goes counter and uh, come to one thing that supports our belief, and we'll glom onto that and use that to reinforce that erroneous belief. And that's why physiologists are saying that our mind is not really very good at cognitive skills because it refuses to question its own assumption. It's so ingrained on being right that it refuses to question that maybe I'm not a sinner. Maybe I am not God's mistake, but God's greatest treasure. Wow, what an idea. What a concept. And what if I believe that? Well, physiologists tell us and psychologists tell us if we believe it, our experiences in the Course in Miracles will say we'll start aligning to that. And if we understand the creation cycle, when we now have changed that belief to say, hey, maybe I am God's beloved child, and we take action to support that, and it blends with the events that become our experiences, we now get feedback that says, hey, that was a good experience. And that reinforces the idea that maybe I am God's beloved child. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, uh, when we talk about beliefs, uh, a lot of times we talk about someone being in a bad environment. There's this battered wife syndrome where someone is abused or in an abusive relationship. And so what they do is they were in an abusive situation in Detroit, so they moved to Denver. Okay, so they changed their environment. What will happen, and what the uh, uh, test or whatever, when they follow up, they'll find out that 6 months later they moved to Denver and they've now in that similar type abusive situation. The names have changed, the players are different, but the theme is the same. That unless you change how you view yourself and say, I no longer, I don't want to say desire, but I no longer believe that I'm not worthy or that uh, the only person I can attract is some jerk. Okay. As long as you have that mindset, you're going to recreate that environment someplace else. And there's plenty of players in this universe that will do your bidding and abuse you. That's just the fact. The universe will support whatever. Why? Because you want to believe that you're not worthy. You want to believe that the only people you can attract is somebody that's a jerk. Get some respect for yourself. Change your belief, and then the situation has to modify. Now, uh, if you ultimately live this, what you'll find is that the reason we came here is to live our beliefs, find out what we value and why. The reason that we die is to live those beliefs. Birth is consciousness coming into a physical body. Death is consciousness leaving a physical body. With or without a body, you still exist. With or without a body, you are the creator of your experiences. So, uh, that's got another question, Eric?
Well, I was going to say, so we could simply say that um, beliefs are a tool for our creation, and we're either creating something that we desire, something that makes us happy, or we're creating something that we're unaware of that is bringing us unhappiness.
Uh, that's partially true, but I'd like to say that when we're creating things that make us unhappy. The true reality is that we desire, and we desire that unhappiness. Now, that's hard to believe, okay, but we need to realize that we don't just desire the good things, we desire the bad things too. Why? Because that supports my belief, maybe that I'm a sinner, that I have to suffer to earn some redemption or do some penance. So, Course in Miracles is very black and white. And what people want to do is they want to wiggle and they want that gray. And it's not a gray situation. Any experience is the result of the beliefs and uh, that we've got to realize that even when I uh, supposedly had those bad experiences, whenever I was getting beaten or whatever it was, I, when I look back and I say, what did I have to believe about myself to cause that experience or to call that into my awareness? I realized that uh, there was some lesson to be learned. And at some point, okay, there was a breaking point when I realized that doing the same thing over and over again was not going to get different results. It's the mark of insanity to do the same thing over and over and expect different results. And that somewhere you've got to take a different action. You've got to believe that maybe by taking a different action, you'll get different results. And that's the belief. And you take a different action and you get some result. And you say, aha. Okay. And that's the aha moment. You don't realize it, but all those terrible things that supposedly happened were perfect. They're exactly what I needed and wanted because my higher self said, Tom, you can't go on like this. You are God's beloved child, and your stinking thinking about yourself and what you've been told about yourself, you're not the Detroit devil. You're God's beloved child. What a difference. Okay. And so now you look and you realize that it was perfect. It was perfect. It was that Grand Canyon trip that I decided that I needed. Okay, and we baby step our way to awakening. You know, uh, did we need it, or did you need it? No, you didn't need that experience. I did. Okay, you needed your own experience, and your experience is perfect. It's not my experience, but whatever the universe wants, based on my belief, it'll support. So, that's what I would say. Don't think that, especially whenever you have negative creative cycles, when they keep on repeating, ask yourself this question. And the book has an exercise about this thing. But ask yourself this question: what would I have to believe about myself to cause or to attract that experience in my life? It's about me. It's not what Joe did to me. And it wasn't because Joe, uh, has some problem. Always about myself. This is why the Course says the greatest thing that you can do for humanity, if you want to call it that, is to reawaken to the truth about yourself. So ask that question. What people always do is they ask the question, what caused this to happen. And because of their mindset, they blame it on some other source, or they blame it on them not being worthy. There could be all kinds of things, but they fail to realize that it's themselves that has the problem. It's their plan that needs to be correct. There's nothing wrong with them. They, and even, Jesus says in the Course in Miracles, if you want to be like me, knowing that we are the same, I will help you. If you want to be different, I will wait until you change your mind. It's interesting what he says. He doesn't say, if you're having a problem and it's your own stupidity, okay, I'm going to knock you beside the head and shake you up and say, I'm going to save you. He says, I'm going to hold the truth that you are perfect, whole, and complete, that you, like me, are the creator of your own experiences. And therefore, you have the power to change those, to make different choices. And when you're ready, if you want, I will help you, but I can't take away your fear. I can't force you to do that, because if I could force you to to realize that you're perfect, whole, and complete, then that means that if I could do it to you, maybe somebody could do it to me. And if that's the case, then maybe I'm not perfect, whole, and complete. And so one of the things that we need to realize is Jesus or the Holy Spirit or yourself will help you reawaken to the truth of what you are, but it will not and it cannot uh, do it for you, because to do it for you would basically be admitting that you're flawed, that there's something wrong with you, and God didn't make any junk. So there can't be anything wrong with you. There's something wrong with your stinking thinking that needs to be corrected. And that's where we have to focus on. And we can't focus on the environment because we can't control all the parts. We can only control what we have. Here's something in time and space, we don't have 100% liberty of choice. Liberty of choice would say that we have all the options open. But in reality, in time and space, we don't have all the options open. We have limited options. And it's for us to decide how, based on our values, we're going to play those options. If someone has a gun to my head, okay, and says, you do this or that, okay, I can, depending on my level of fear, I'll have different options. If I realize that I uh, am spirit, okay, maybe I have the option to say, no, I won't uh, do that. I won't do something because it goes against my value. I'm willing to take the consequences of you shooting me because I know with certainty that I am spirit. I am consciousness. I am God's beloved child. And now I have more options. If my level of fear, or if I decide that perhaps I have additional learning lessons that I want to achieve at this lifetime, and I need the body, Okay. Then I may decide something different. Okay. Everything it's not what you do, it's why you do it. Okay. And A Course in Miracles, really what we're trying to do is a loving action is always, if we ask, how to reduce the level of fear. If that means that whenever someone's getting attacked, I need to physically uh, stop that, okay, because that's what will help them reduce their level of fear, then that's the advice that I get. If that would help them reduce their fear, but it'll increase mine to a level too high, then the Holy Spirit maybe will tell me to run. Who knows? The thing is we're always trying, and loving response is always reducing the level of fear. First in yourself, then once you've got yourself where you can move, you'll have other options, and maybe you can help others reduce their level of fear. But that's always like why whenever you're on a plane, they say loss of cabin pressure, this mask is going to flip down, and you're always supposed to put the mask on yourself first, not on another person, because if you don't, you won't be in shape to be able to help that other person. So there are another question, or
Um,
or
let's see. I don't think so. I
oh,
think we will probably get ready to wrap up. I know we talked about an hour, and we've made an hour and a half, and it flew by, Tom.
okay.
Uh,
Well, we've done a lot of stuff, but like you said, I've written a lot of things, and um, if uh, you find this of value, you'll find that uh, if you're of a spiritual bent or you're studying A Course in Miracles, you might want to consider the this book here. Okay, Course in Miracles Made Practical. But if you want science and you want to know why you should believe certain things, this book, Ending Fear, 7-hour formula, uh, does it approaches things from a scientific, sociological, psychological, mind science basis to help you increase the believability. Because what I said is that uh, in order for something to be practical, it has to be understandable and it has to be believable. And these books will help you perhaps understand it and believe it. And if you know you you are really into A Course in Miracles, then you could start looking at some of these fatter, which I, but no, in regard to that's what I would say. Uh, and with those two books, yeah, there's a study guide because they're not really designed just to be read. I mean, if you read them, yeah, there'd be a easy read. But what we want is we want transformation, and transformation requires you saying, looking at your current plan, saying you're satisfied with it. Yes, no. If not, there's nothing wrong with me. Let's just assume that. Maybe I need a new plan. Maybe the Course in Miracles is that plan. There's a lot of plans up the mountain, and certainly uh, this approach, especially ending in fear, will provide the science behind some of these ideas that we've espoused here.
We have a friend that says, "Thanks so much for confirmations of my own epistemology, Tom."
Okay.
And another friend says, "Well, I enjoyed this message. It has absolutely resonated with recent insights and messages on so many levels. I need a breather." Um, let's see. You get a shout out. It says author Tom Wakechild, capital letters. Um, so I believe that you have um, reached quite a few people. And would you consider coming back up?
Uh, yes, we can discuss that as a possibility because uh, I spent a lot of time uh, with a lot of these ideas, and because of my background and not coming directly out of A Course in Miracles, I'm probably able to synthesize and make things more, I'll say, practical. Uh, and yes, I would be willing to entertain that.
I appreciate that. Uh, you working on any upcoming books?
If I
Secret?
get a chance, yes, what I am very interested in is I don't know if this will become the name of the book, but how to end the blame, shame, and guilty. But what it really would be is trying to educate people on how the mind works and how perception works and the biases. Because right now, I guess, I mean, everything's unfolding perfectly because that's what the mass collective consciousness wants. But we're in a situation where we're seeing AI appear, we're seeing social media appear, and there's a lot of misinformation out there. And we need to become critical thinkers. So this book would be trying to help explain how the universe works, how your mind works, so that you can become aware of all the influences that are trying to rob you of your happiness out there, how much fear there is out there because we're bombarded by this fear-based thought system and it's insidious. And if we don't realize that we're being brainwashed, we will continue to accept their assumptions and the results will be uh, we'll continue to live in fear. And that's not what God wants us to do. So
You,
there's that one. And if I get that, and it might be in this next one also, the people have never told you the uh, rules of how uh, reality works. The Course in Miracles has three laws: the law of perception, the law of seeing, and the law of God. Uh, and those birth a whole other set of laws. We need to know how the world of perception works. And that's another, in some of these books, you'll see there's other laws in there, uh, the law of oneness and stuff like that. So that's something that I'm really interested in, but because of this, wanted to do that for a while, but because of this brainwashing that's being so pervasive in our society, I think people need to be made aware of the indoctrination and so that they become a deliberate creator and that there's different thought systems, and to describe those thought systems, because most people are following a third or fourth tier thought system when they really believe they're following a thought system based on logic and reason that's been self-generated. So anyway, we'll see.
It sounds exciting.
Well, it is exciting. It's like it's just how much time they have, So
Right.
it's a thing of getting the priorities. But yeah, I would like this. And this is so beneficial to myself also. Uh, I always we're always learning about our own values, and whenever can discuss things. And unfortunately, this hasn't been necessarily uh, one-on-one where we could have a real two-way conversation. But uh, those things are certainly something that we'd like to, entertain in the future. Okay. So,
Definitely. I hope so.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you,
Uh,
Tom.
okay.
Um,
You had a great day.
you too. I'll reach out. And I'll send you a link to this if you want to rewatch.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'd like that if I could, to be able to get that link, because if it's all right, I could send it to a lot of my own people too, so that they could see it, uh, and maybe they'll find some value of it.
Okay. Yes. Use it. Feel free.
Okay.
All right,
Thank
Tom.
you.
Thank you, my friend. Take
All
care.
right. Namaste.
Guys, I will see you tomorrow at 5 a.m. if you're around, and we will talk more. Of Course Miracles and other stuff too. Good night, guys.